Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, the place where knowledge is born. Have the honor and privilege of having Sunday school live on Do Knowledge Radio via this Google Hangout conversation uh, with the man, the myth, the legend, one of the strongest mentors uh, I've ever come in contact with in regards to holistic health. And it's a myriad of subjects. You know, the brother could deal with everything under the sun. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce to some and present to others none other than the minister coming live, Minister Enqi Sangreal. Peace to the God.
Peace.
It's definitely an honor and privilege every time we get to dialogue because, you know, we could philosophize about the moon, the stars, and the quasars. You know what I'm saying?
Man, look at that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Man.
That's mine. That check mine right there. You know what I'm saying?
We just spoke him up.
Right.
But yeah, definitely. It's come on, man. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. You know, you always hold the guard down. You know, everybody that's heard me on the shows, like the plethora of shows,
right?
The last 5-6 days, that's been courtesy of Do the Knowledge Radio is the central piece, and I don't know, man. I think it's amazing that you've been able to. I want to shout out everybody, not just you. Let me shout out everybody.
Shout them out.
Yeah, let me shout out everybody that has a platform via, be it a blog talk, YouTube, Google Hangouts, like whatever, that did not participate in the crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Then I also want to big up Dr. Umar Johnson. You know, he issued a call to the elders, you know, and I think that kind of was missing from everything in terms of a bunch of people offering solutions. You know, people get panicky, people get anxiety, people get frustrated, and everybody becomes the solution expert. But I think it was dope that Umar said that what's missing is a call to the elders, and it kind of coincided with what I was saying, because I think that with you know, we're fractionalized already. The conscious community is not one community. You know, it's a community made up of Hebrew Israelites, Moors. Then you have Moorish Americans, which is different from the Moors slightly. You know, they have their own fraction thing going on. Then you got the Muslim brothers, you know what I'm saying? And those are Orthodox Sunni Muslims, Muslims that are part of the Moorish movement. Then you got the, you know, Farrakhan and the NOI, Nation of Islam. So we got all those brothers, and then we got people that are just John Q. Public that are into the metaphysics, and then we got the Black Power movements, which aren't necessarily heavy on information. So that creates a different dynamic. Their thing is more impact in the street and see if they can galvanize the people. Then you have the scientific slash holistic health community that's a part of. So, and then with the beginning of the year, you know, we had somebody removed from everywhere, you know,
right,
with Shakur and Dr. Kiefer and Sabi and Delbert. And so all of those things kind of left us unprotected. And, you know, I just want to make sure I hit that, because every platform, you know, we're going to have some people that follow us platform to platform, but every platform is going to have a different group of people. And I think it's important that people understand that we are vulnerable right now for certain type of energy to come in due to so many of our elders transitioning into ancestorhood. So with that being the case, I think it is important that, you know, I think it is important that the elders go ahead and step up and, you know, form a elderhood, so to speak. And you know, I think that was dope of Umar to not look to take shots. You know what I'm saying? Because quite a few of us, we're not on good terms with Umar. So he could have used that as an opportunity to you know, bang, 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 bang. But he didn't. So that was dope.
Most definitely. So yeah, salute to that. Because it's definitely time for us to return back to family. And, you know, we was just building a few seconds ago about family and the importance of legacy and lineage. So, you know, we went through this opportune time to be able to, have whatever happen. But as a result of no longer honoring the lineage and the legacy of those who come before you, that's how you trip yourself up. And I know uh, with you, Inky, like one of the greatest contributions you had is being able to go through and reform a lot of the things and ideas and concepts which we would hold true. You see what I'm saying? Especially in the realm of Kemetic science. You see what I'm saying? Even with the theorem from our great elder, Dr. Gabriel Ayivo. You see what I'm saying? Everything under the sun, pushing that envelope truly to be able to give us something fruitful and palatable, and also a decoder. Like I was, building with the brother KT the arts degree. Salute and honor to KT the arts degree. I told him that you, red, blue, A, Rashid, black dot, uh, and the master decoders were the master decoders from the master teacher's messages. So, we would get something from Dr. Delbert Blair, Reverend Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemming and things like that. But oftentimes it wouldn't reach us all the way. So we would need a decoder to decode what the decoders broke down. You see what I'm saying? So, you would get that through line through the next generation, whoever was responsible for that information. So it's definitely an honor and a privilege when we're able to get that translated properly, so that way we can be able to deal with that uh, information holistically and put it to practical use. So it's definitely something of value and worth. So salute to KT the Arts degree in the Pillar Clan, Mama Pill, Red and Blue, Truth Pill, everybody out there. I just take a few seconds to honor those who came before us. Um, my brother A. Rashid, uh, Dr. Alim L. Bay, uh, Reverend Valentine, Dr. Blair. Salute to King Simon. Salute to Bobby Hemmett. Salute to Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, Dr. Amos Wilson. All of these greats. Salute to Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Salute to one of my warrior teachers, Minister King Samir Shabazz of the Black Riders Liberation Party. It's just so many greats, and those greats uh, for me, able to garner value and work from their legacy. My legacy begins with my mother. Uh, Salute and honor to my mother and to my father, who gave me uh, who honored the commitments that we shared with one another, even before incarnating into the physical realm. So that duty and responsibility that we owe to one another, based on what my issue or what my uh, work was here to do, for so that verbal, physical, spiritual agreement that happened and took place between us in order to, bring about this incarnation in the physical realm, and the tumultuous journey surrounding the situations of my birth and the steadfastness of my mother's uh, love to persevere in some of the most trying times around the conditions of my birth, and also the first year of my existence. You put this incarnation. So for us as Black people or African people, if we don't have family, we don't have anything. So you are seeking to come amongst us to be a progenitor of any type of information. And what is important is legacy and lineage. So if you're not honoring your ancestral lineage or carrying on their work, then we can find it very easily in how you present yourself. So it's definitely something that's of utmost importance to be able to honor that ancestral lineage and be able to trace it back, you know, as far as you possibly can when, dealing with this particular information and dealing with our people. Because 2017 and beyond is the re-emergence and resurgence of restructuring and realigning the African family, who we were before the fall, what we learned from the fall, and how we're going to continue to fortify moving forward. And Minister Enqi plays an integral role in that rediscovery in regards to getting us back into our proper state of being holistically from a spiritual vantage point, from a physical vantage point, a mental, emotional, psychological standpoint in regards to uh, what we're putting in our bodies and what we're giving our attention to becomes more and more important as the time progresses on. So definitely salute to him, and also creating a through line for our future generations. So if what we're doing does not impact the entire family and leave away a legacy or a lineage for the future generations that incarnate in the physical realm, we have nothing. We have nothing. So no one thing is a solution other than family, because from the family we can see all things that transpire. So it's definitely something that we need to take a look at and honor those. So salute to the families who we have seen over the years. Salute to Queen Afua and Supernova Salam. Salute to the Pillar family. These are families who have uh, put us first. These are families of people who have put us first. Salute to Board Mastermind and E Queen. Happy soul return to the Queen. E Queen Earth. Today's physical. So happy soul return to the Earth. Another example of family that is there. Dr. Uh, Baba Baruti and Yabaruti. Another example of family who has foregone their life's mission to be able to uh, teach our children. Shout out to the sister Jamila A. Hyman from the Asase Academy. Salute to the Lone Stars with their academy. Anybody who's teaching African centered thought and African centered reality, building up the core competencies amongst our family, our future generations, deserves honor and praise. So salute to Tech with the Each One Teach One initiative, along with Tahir RBG, United Front, and B. Dot to God, rallying around African Centered School fundraisers and an initiative to fund. Salute to Red and Blue Pill with the Facts Initiative. There's a myriad of people that are working collaboratively or cooperatively in order to see us through. Salute to 300 Gangsters, man. Uh, PFK Bull, Big Wolf, out there in Baltimore, aka Tubman City, making a change, making things happen. There's so many people that are out there that are working for the good of our people, and our focus should be around championing those who are out here versus uh, worrying about these distractions that are out there. Nothing is bigger. Nothing and no one is bigger than the goal. So all of us are subservient and all of us are duty bound in our responsibilities in our respective lanes to be able to see this goal come to fruition. So definitely have a responsibility to ensure that this is happening. And for me, in honoring my mother's legacy, one of the key issues that we find in regards to our well-being and our health is, there's a lot of credence and attention being paid to uh, people who don't have the said ability to deal with us in that faction of, of wellness. You see, but how this ease and key systems of the body come in and they play on different realms. Uh, my mother was into the science of healing, the science of iridology, natural herbs, and things of that nature for over 30 years. And before she transitioned, she was working out of 28 states and uh, 4 countries all around the world and establishing different strongholds, throughout the earth in regards to uh, health and wellness and dealing with everything from the common cold to AIDS. She would say from the trivial to the traumatic. You see what I'm saying? And I remember that a little boy came to my house. He was about 5 years old. I was around 7 at the time, and the doctors had given him uh, two, no, a week to live, not 2 weeks to live. Gave him a week to live. They gave him a ticket to Disneyland, and they had burnt him up so bad with the AZT, burnt up his insides. He could barely speak. He was only 5 years old. I remember, looking at him and hearing that he was going to transition. I was like, you know, I felt a way in my heart and my spirit for the young brother, even at a young age. I'm saying, this little boy is only 5 years old. He didn't even get a chance to live yet. You know, so that resonated with me in regards to my mother's work and you know offering alternative uh, remedies in regards to health. And my mother worked with the young brother, and through that power and spirit of love and transformation, the young brother is still alive to this day. So um, there are outlets, there are people that are among us that are here as healers, and they may use some different type of means or whatever to reach the people, whether it be healing you emotionally, whether it be healing you psychologically, whether it be healing you economically, whether it be healing you culturally. These brothers and sisters are here uh, with this particular set ability to be able to do those things. So there's a lot of people that are out here among us that we should be supporting, not only with our good talks, but also uh, with our electrical currency as further evidence of our intent and also our love for and placing a value with that which we say that we need. So in regards to that, we're looking at this particular situation and we're seeing what's going on. So it becomes again our duty and responsibility to support those among us who are doing that work, uh, and preserve the legacy of those who came before us, and also create a space and place uh, as an inheritance for our future ancestors who are returning in the form of our children. Uh, One of the greatest proverbs I heard from the Maasai warriors of Kenya, there was a question that was asked, and how are the children? And the response is, all the children are well. So if we are to account in front of our ancestors and say that uh, we have this responsibility to our future generations, can we truly, for sure, to answer that question, and how are the children, and our response being all the children are well, what systems are we putting in place? What have we uh, put forth to ensure that all the children are well? What are we prepared to do? How far are we prepared to go? You see what I'm saying? So that's something that we have to take into account, most definitely, to be able to answer that definitive question. And I know my brother, Minister Enqi, has a lot of a lot to answer for. You see what I'm saying? I have 4 children myself. You know what I'm saying? I ain't on the Enqi level yet. You see what I'm saying? I'm working on it. You know what I mean? So, to be able to set up that, system definitively in a holistic perspective, to be able to answer that question with surety, and how are the children? All of the children are well. So that means in every aspect of our existence, if we're well, then we're going to ensure that our children are well. So we can answer that question definitively and say all the children are well, because we're dealing with the entire family. The whole family is well. They have that adage that say, when you teach a woman, you teach a nation, but when you teach a child, you empower an entire nation, because the children are going to take it to a place that we never thought could exist.
Right, that's nation building for real. That's nation building for real when you start to deal with the babies directly. Right. And I think that I don't know. I think that a lot of times we just gotta focus in. Like, it's great to be at the bottom of the year, because we got the top of the year. So we just gotta charge each other with saying, listen, whatever it is that you professed, we want to see something.
Right.
Even if you stumble and fall down, whatever the case may be, we want to see you laying some bricks down. Lay some bricks down. The bricks, they might not last the storm. It's fine, but get going with the bricklaying. It's time. We done had too much blueprint time and designing time and architecture time. We got to start laying bricks down, cement down, and things like that. And I think it's a couple of pieces to that. The lane, people need to stay in their lanes and focus more on what it is that they're doing, instead of the attention junkie thing that we see going on. Right. A brother called me up earlier. He said, Minister, I know you got the Pink Lips product out with the proper sea moss and the the crystals and all this kind of stuff. But I heard brother such and such say that all you need to do is drink some coconut water and you can clean your lungs out. I said, brother, that is absolutely untrue. You're not going to clean your lungs out by drinking coconut water in a day. That's not even going to work that way. Now, coconut water is incredibly hydrating. So I'm walking around drinking coconut water all the time. I like Raw. This is one of the Raw brands. If it's not, listen, if you're getting coconut water and it's not raw, then you're wasting your money. Coconut water cannot sit on the counter and not go rancid. So any coconut water, like when you buy the Zicos and those kind of things, those are baloney. It's not real coconut water. or it may have been real coconut water, but they got the preservatives and the crazy stuff in there. It's not real, right? There's no enzyme activity left. So it's not real. Now, I will say this. The lungs sit in just like everything else in the body. It has its own pool of water called pleurisy fluid, a type of plasma. So they must stay wet, but you are going to need specific types of herbs to get in there and start to remove that tar and some of those other things. I heard a sister say, well, minister, brother such and such said fruits and vegetables is dangerous because it can make you fat. So, like, there's a whole list of these things that we kind of have to deal with in terms of, not necessarily live right here, but there's just a lot of misinformation floating around due to, jockeying for position and just trying to get out there and get some views. And, anybody can read 1 or 2 health blogs and then turn around to people that don't read health blogs and sound like they know something. But the moment somebody that really does that for a living steps in, it's going to seem a little different, and I think it's the same with anything. I can go online and look up some, I can look up some historical stuff, but I'm not a historian. You know what I'm saying? So although I might be accurate, I might be missing some stuff. You know what I mean? That's not what I do. So I think that's going to play a key role, and we have to use that because that is a part of the village mindset when we used to educate our babies homeschool style. It wasn't, it wasn't one person trying to do it. That's kind of what we're creating here in Detroit. And that also keeps us in alignment with the law. But all of the children that come through the homeschool, their parents are part of the homeschool teaching, right? And everybody has something to contribute. Everybody has something that they are very well versed in that they can offer to the children. And when that happens, everybody is charged with becoming a student now. I think the role of teachers maintaining their studentship is very important. A lot of people get to the point where they feel like they know so much information that they no longer can be a student. They no longer could listen to somebody else teach and get excited. They no longer want to buy a ticket to another lecture. They no longer want to watch a brother on YouTube. They no longer want to listen because they always got something to say. And I think that is where we start to go downhill, because the moment as a teacher or a leader that you stop learning, you're setting yourself up on a clock to extinction. So I think that's definitely key in our approach to raising these babies. We got to put the right images and the right people. Come on, Chase, no treadmill, man. Just hit the weights. Or just do calisthenics today, since we're not going to be here that long, but no treadmill. You hear me? Yeah, it's not the season for all that treadmill stuff. Chase think he's some type of full-blown NFL.
Where he get it from?
Man!
Yo, I'm here doing this lecture after I climb this mountain.
Right.
Type.
I don't even know what to say. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I think a lot of my energy, comes from poverty situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird to say that, but when you're in the Bronx and it's not any real wildlife, everything is fake. Even the parks,
right?
The parks are not really real because there's a subway system. And because there's a subway system, that means that the parks aren't really connected to the earth. So you don't get the same energy, vibration, and frequencies in New York parks because none of them are connected to the earth. So like last night, Brick was talking about the screw-in movement, on one level to screwing in, which is the popular surface level. It's about inflammation. It's about the negative ions coming into the body, et cetera, et cetera. But when you take it to a further extent, you understand that you're plugging directly into those long wave infrareds that charge and structure cellular activity anyway. So then it creates another powerful dynamic in the body in terms of intracellular chelation and things like that. And it's good to get out and do as much as possible, but it's not happening in New York unless you go to maybe I don't know, maybe Van Cortlandt Park or some of those other places, and you can feel the charge density in the air and the ground around you, especially when you plug in. So with that being said, like when I got out of the city, when I was able to move around a little bit, like you see me on that mountain, I got that video climb, I am scared to fucking death. Like there was a part where I just wouldn't even stand up. I was just like, no way. I just couldn't even stand up. I was like literally on the mountain on my hands and knees, like, no way. This just seemed like we don't even belong up here, but you want to do it because you've never been in that environment before, and you don't know when you're going to be around that type of scenic action again. So you just take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I'm around jet skis, stuff like that. So now that I've been able to have a bunch of those experiences and stuff like that, and then transition now and have my babies around, at least the ones that want to move around. Some of them, you know, they cling to their mamas. But some of them take after me. They like the information. They want to be vegan, vegetarian. They want to teach. They want to reach the people. They want to, you know, it's different. You know, they got the daddy genes. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's dope to be able to have those experiences with them. But you know, a lot of it comes from just not being able to, like, it's so different, especially in Detroit, because Detroit is a wild place in a way that it's a city like New York. I mean, exactly like New York, but it's also a suburb type of vibe because it's houses everywhere. It's real trees. You're really connected to the earth. There is no subway system here. It's all buses. So, you know, there's no underground thing going on except for like the underground mineral deposits and stuff like that. But even those underground mineral deposits of copper and salt, you know, create a whole nother dynamic. That's why, you know, my chi again, you know, Michigan is such a special place because, you know, the mineral deposits, and you don't get, just for people that don't understand how magnetism and things like that works, you don't get large mineral deposits. You don't get large ore deposits outside of ley lines. It's the magnetic grid of the planet that attracts those minerals to certain places. So whenever you have rich deposits of soil, salt, or rather sodium, copper, and just some of the other things, do know that you are on the magnetic grid right there. And if you want to do some ritual work, or you know, you trying to do some other things, you in the right place. But it's deep that chi is in some of these names of some of these places, like Michigan, Chicago. You know, chi is in the name, and you know, we have a long-standing history with some of these places that's not thoroughly explored. You know, a lot of people didn't know that Chicago was a Haitian city. I know it because I'm Haitian, so you know that's something that we discussed. But outside that, people didn't know that. Like that's Black folk city right there. We right. Found that city, and this is Black to the day. So when you look at all of the unrest that goes on there, and then you get with the people, and like one time, and this was when I was in contention with some brothers that was in Chicago, not anymore. So we done pieced it out and all that, but you know, my thing to them was like, yo, while y'all trying to argue with me, you know, 80-something children just got shot in 3 days in your city, man. you boys got some work to do besides paying attention to me. So I made it my business to go up there, me and Brother Morgan, and we went to the high schools, you know, to speak directly to the babies. And then we went to the street, you know, so I could speak to my guys out there. Big shout out to Marvo and you know, the rest of the Wild Hundreds and Ty Money and all them guys. But then, you know, but So they said that, you know, a lot of that stuff that we see on the news where they're saying is black on black crime is not. They got police dressed up as gangbangers and, you know, like it's a wild thing going on up there. So, but but my thing is that, and you know, if you're a conspiracy theorist, then you like to connect dots. Like myself, you might see into it. If not, it might be over, you know, it might just be me overdoing it. But certain groups of Europeans will always have it in for Haitians because they had that memory of what happened. You know what I'm saying? And so it just stands to reason that there's always some type of experiment going on up there because it's still a very powerful place. There's a very powerful spot on the grid. And you know, a lot of stuff is going on there to stop and prevent people from reaching their full potential. And you see it happening all over. And then there's a there's a relationship that people don't know between law enforcement, funeral homes, and these tissue blood cell banks. You know, they work together, and you know, whenever they raise the crime rate, you know, all these dead boys pile up. Funeral home, they getting, you know, 5-10 racks a body.
Right.
You understand? And that's just from the families. That's not counting the split that they get off the body parts, kick back a good portion to the police, law enforcement. And you know, so it get crazy, man. It's just a whole bunch of shit going on. You know what I'm saying? It gets crazy. So, you know,
and that being the largest distribution network of the Mexican cartel, Chicago.
Wow.
You know that. You know what I mean? Like, so when you look at that and you see what's going on in our relationship historically to Chicago, like you brought out with the Haitian, but the Moorish
the Moors, the Muslims,
all of that. He said so. Like they're in the name too. It's synonymous with the statesmen. You know, political structure of our people. You know, you got Steve Copley. You see what I'm saying? And you have also see Medina. You know, according to the narrative, Medina is the place where Muhammad went and became a statesman and built up the army to go back to take Mecca. So if you look at Medina in this relationship to the Mecca, you see exactly what that correlation is and how that correlation.
Hey, Daddy.
Yeah, so we see family legacy right there.
I love that.
So yeah, with that relationship right there and how that works as twin energy. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes it's positive or negative depending on your outlook. You know, you got that same relationship with Harlem and with Brooklyn. You see what I'm saying? So that whole twin energy.
Well, Harlem is different because Harlem. Let me tell you what's different about Harlem. Harlem is an illusion, and this is why some of the crazy stuff that goes on in places like Chicago doesn't happen in Harlem, because Harlem is so small and easy to deal with. Harlem is not a real place. You know, it's Manhattan is the name of the borough. You know, Manhattan is the name of the island. Harlem is just an imaginary place that Black folks have coined just because we wanted to have something for ourselves. So we coined that Harlem. This is Harlem right here. You know what I'm saying? But Harlem really doesn't exist. Harlem is a small neighborhood from 110th Street up to like maybe 145th Street in Manhattan, to give the illusion to a poverty-stricken people that they actually have something that they don't. You know what I'm saying? We don't have Harlem. We got a few blocks in Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? And we got to start really looking at this thing like, this is why the crazy shit goes on in Chicago, because Chicago's a city. Detroit is a city. You know what I'm saying? Now, crazy shit goes on overall in New York, But to be honest, Harlem is not really the place where the most crazy stuff goes on. It's just popular because so much black power has come out of there. And then on top of the black power, we had a lot of the money, you know, big money stories and things like that come out of Harlem. But a lot of the crazy stuff that goes on in New York is always the Bronx and Brooklyn, you know, because those are, you know, it's not on the radar. So Harlem stays on the radar. And what happens in the Bronx and Brooklyn comes off the radar. A lot of babies go missing. And I think that really it comes down to, you know, and not just to make like a corny segue, but I have this thing, and certain people on a certain type of frequency, they have it too. And it's intuition, but it's a really, really focused level of intuition that kind of puts you in certain situations and removes you from certain other situations. And I think that is given to us all by nature as a part of who we are, being able to read vibrations and energy. It's just some of us have that block. So when you look at the conscious community right now, it's looking crazy like that too. And the fast. I was talking to Sister Kafunya. A lot of people know Sister Kafunya. She does a lot of healing work, healing circle work. She's heavy into the metaphysics. She doesn't like to be looked at as a community elder because she's not really into she's not really into labels like that, into the division, you know, the the new generation versus the old generation, light skinned blacks versus dark skinned blacks, and fat versus slim, and all this kind of crazy stuff. But a lot of us do look at Sister Kafunya as you know, an elder in certain regards in terms of respect and what she provides to the community. So I was talking to her last night, and she just echoed a lot of the sentiments. And her thing was that, you know, Enqi, you know, you and KT, y'all doing some good work out there. It's beautiful what y'all doing. And yes, we need a physical fast and deal with this, the nutrition and the food and things like that. But make no mistake, we need that fast for spiritual purposes more than anything. We need a cleansing on a spiritual level. And I try not to get too deep into light body science because I know there's a thin line between what people understand in biology and cutting edge technology and what the ancestors left us. And most people can't go that far. But every one of our cells internally is process 100 to 500,000 chemical reactions per second. That creates chemiluminescence. Chemiluminescence is chemical induced light from chemical reactions that's produced without heat. And we have that at the cellular level. So we have to begin to, you know, we hear the darkness and things like that. We're so stricken with the past that any negative connotation towards darkness, we think that's a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like bars, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody coming at you, but it's not. You know, if your cells are not illuminating, you have problems. You know, the cells have been measured. You know that? Boom.
No, peace, Enqi. I'm back, man.
Okay. Don't let my check my phone call, Chase. Yeah. So what happened? Your joint went down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I told KT that YouTube got an arts degree too for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through that YouTube arts degree. So yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think I gotta I just need to get a new MacBook. I need to step my MacBook game up. But you know, Sister Kafunya was saying that you know, it's time that we do a spiritual cleansing, and I think that that's correct. We have to begin to become spiritual adepts again. We got to clean.
That's right.
We got to get back righteous. We got to get, you know, we got to line it up. So I think, again, Sebi's genius was in his ability to condense, because he was heavy into his shamanism. Right. You know, he was a shaman big time. So he understood all those dynamics. But again, he just, it was so beautiful and elegant in the way he just condensed it down to revitalizing the mucous membrane. So when we go on this fast to revitalize the mucous membrane, it's a spiritual cleansing as well, because it opens up the body, and then we can go back to our primary food sources, which are water and light. Now, of course, the fast is not water and light, but the less dense the sustenance is that we take in, the more it opens up the body's ability to pull energy from water and light and begin to do some remarkable things. Their energy is gonna go through the roof. I got so many testimonies after testimonies after testimonies. People losing 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 40 pounds. I got off of 3 of my medication. And you know, I don't need to throw the testimonies around for personal validation. I don't really need for people to be like, oh, you know, I was on 8 medications. Now I'm not on any medication. Like, for me, just to see a person be able to put away safely 2 or 3 of their medications in a matter of a month and a half, that to me, that's amazing and really something that we have to applaud. Another one of those health things that we got to deal with is everybody trying to become natural now. I need people to stop just throwing away their medication. You know, if you're on medication already, don't just jump out of the damn window and say, okay, I ordered some Enqi products, I ordered Mama Pill products, I ordered Sebi's products, and now I'm throwing all my medication away. That is not how that works, because your body's not in that type of condition. What we want you to do is follow the modality. Take the natural plants, natural supplements, and then dial your way back to the point where the conditions that require you to take those things subside a bit or disappear completely. And then you can start to talk reckless and say, I'm off my meds and blah, 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 blah. In fact, a lot of people, the way I structure these programs, I allow them to go in and be cleared by the doctor.
Right.
That's what people need to be able to do. They need to be able to incorporate the holistic lifestyle into something that's tangible, where they can go into the hospital and then the doctor says, oh my God, look how well you're doing. And now here's the rub, here's the game. To keep us insulated, I always tell people, let the doctor have all the credit. Do not go in the fucking hospital and when they tell you, oh man, you know, no longer need your medication. Don't start telling those motherfuckers that that's because Minister Enqi. Don't tell them that's because Brother KT. Just let them say, you just say, damn, doc, thanks, man. You were a really good doctor. And, you know, this was amazing. And, you know, let the doctor get all the credit. Let him go home feeling good about himself. And you go home and you take that W. You know what I'm saying? Because outside of that, you might be so excited about your personal healing and transformation that you may put something in place that may block the masses from getting theirs,
right.
and the trickle down effect. So, and then also we don't want people to be jumping off medication and doing dangerous things. Now, I make myself very available. You know what I'm saying? It's consultations. If people want full-scale consultations, outside that, people always have my number to text me, etc., etc. Don't just run off half-cocked and buy up products, no matter whose product it is. And you got other stuff you know you got going on. You got, you know, like this one brother, he hit me up and he wasn't even using my products. I ain't even gonna say the name of the person because it's not a shot at them. But he said, hey man, you know, I was taking, because he's now like, this is his intro conversation to becoming now our customer, trying our stuff. And so he was like, yeah, well, you know, I was using such and such stuff, man, and it wasn't even as good as Sabi's, you know, so it wasn't Dr. Sabi. But, you know, such and such thing. And, you know, man, I had some hot, you know, I had like anxiety and I was feeling too hot and I had to go to the emergency. And I'm like, you know, I started talking to the brother, going further in. And he,
right.
you know, he drinks 3-4 times a week. You know, your regular nigga, little Hennessy, you know, Friday, right. Saturday, whatever. Right. But he got 2 or 3 different prescription drugs he takes daily. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? For anxiety and some other stuff going on. And blah, blah. I said, bro, you got that type of chemical hodgepodge mixed up in your stomach. Right. And you took homeboy's herbs for 3 days. And the heat and the this and that, the discomfort, all of those things that he described were part of the detox process. So we'll get to that. People not understanding the detox process. But then also, dude, you got to look at all that chemical shit you got going on in there. You know, you have to leave room and understand what's going on. And then if you had got a consultation instead of just ordering products online, the brother might have had suggested you combine it differently, because I do. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what type of prescriptions you might be already taking, I might say, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't mix those. That's going to create a situation. And if you're dealing with John Q. Public, they always going to blame the weird new thing as opposed to the chemical compound. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I laugh at religious people sometimes. I'm like, you don't really love God or trust God, because as soon as you get sick, you run to white folks. But, you know, getting back to the detox process, I think that's also important for people to understand that the detoxing is a self-inflicted illness. It's a voluntary sickness. You know, when your body gets sick, your body begins to sweat. It begins to, you have excessive urine. You have to, you know, go to the bowel, you know, bowel movements, excessive, because these are all excretion tactics of the body. They're looking to push things out. So you have a lot of mucus, you're coughing, you're sneezing, all of those, your body trying to push stuff out. So when you go through a detox process and you're taking herbs to help that process, or you're looking to lose weight and you're taking herbs to speed the metabolism, or maybe you don't even know that you're iodine deficient and you just jumping on the sea moss wave. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody hollering sea moss, so you jumping on the sea moss wave. You know what I'm saying? I even see guys all of a sudden now, me and KT been doing this Irish moss versus sea moss. So now there's a lot of attention on sea moss. So I done seen dudes jumping off the top rope that we don't even deal with like that. Now all of a sudden, sea moss, they main product for sale. So it's cool because it helps, you know, like it's cool in a way because it just shows that we have a strong enough influence that we can create economic opportunities for other people to take advantage of. But at the end of the day, if people aren't letting people know, hey, one of the main things with these sea vegetables is that, you know, they're high in copper and they're even higher in iodine. That itself may create some changes in your metabolism, which, you know, if you're not used to that, or if you're chronically deficient and your thyroid is not producing T3 and T4 properly, or your parathyroid glands are not up to par, so your body's not able to utilize calcium, magnesium, and some of those things, optimally, and then you start running on these different sea mosses, Irish moss, Chondrus crispus, and all this kind of stuff. When you start getting these things in your body, your metabolism is going to change. When your metabolism changes, the speed at which you sweat, you know, urinate, all these things are going to change. So this is things that we got to deal when we having these full body transformations like this. You feel me?
And the same component in regards to the psychological component in that same fashion. You know what I mean? And having an understanding too of how we identify which nature things going on within our bodies is so key. You know, so for every physical element, there's a consistent corresponding from what I found in the psychological or the realm of neurology too. That you know, like there's a brother of mine who whose stepson had seizures. You know, like just having these erratic seizures over and over. You know, I said, so you took him to the doctor, right? What the doctor said? Oh, they don't know. You see what I'm saying? I said, so now you might be dealing with these violent seizures based off of trauma. You see what I'm saying? So now if you look at a component things that have a health implication, they have another corresponding in the realm of the psychological aspect based off of root-based trauma. See what I'm saying? So along with the component of spiritual, physical wellness, we get in the realm of mental health and mental health wellness and the detox that's necessary also.
No, definitely. Listen, let me tell you, it's the chemistry, the biochemistry that dictates a lot of those different things. I'm almost like that's like one of my specialties, eliminating or reducing seizure activity. You know, I put a lot of study into that, and I've been immensely successful with cutting out seizures, especially in young children, because a lot of there's two major reasons why people experience those seizures. One is our lack of Black ignorance. Period. I got to keep going back to that. Black ignorance is $1 billion industry, $1 trillion industry, really. And then because of that ignorance, you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
The last thing you said was because of that ignorance.
Oh, because of that ignorance, we don't understand that when we dealing with some of these other dynamics, it doesn't work for us. And there's a targeted effort to slow down some of our processes. And the key to understanding seizures is neurochemistry, and certain key factors are always at play. Magnesium deficiency. Magnesium deficiency and magnesium's like sidekick, like Batman and Robin. This is how they roll together. So a person, from my experience, with adequate levels of magnesium and high levels of vitamin K, you won't see seizure activity, period. Or it'll be greatly reduced immediately, because vitamin K is the vitamin that pulls glutamate and excess nitrogen out of blood circulation. And it's the glutamates and the excess nitrogens that wreak havoc in the brain, along with the what do they call these things? Excitotoxins, which are nothing other than the the different dyes and the neurochemicals and all those kind of things that are in the sweets and the children's foods and the junk food and stuff like that we consume. So once you eliminate those things, the seizure activity goes down tremendously. You know, you have astrocytes and glial cells that are in the brain to protect neurons. But what happens is they get full and they begin to die off. So now, the same way I was saying, the conscious community, we lost a lot of elders and that stripped off our protection. We lose a lot of astrocytes and glial cells in the brain. That strips off that protection. And now the neurons are overstimulated by this nitrogen. And we have that, you know, we have that effect, that seizure effect. And it disconnects us from the global electromagnetic, you know, it's a whole process that happens, but the neurochemistry anyway is due to excessive nitrogen and glutamates on the brain. And a lot of doctors would say that they don't know what's going on, but they do, because I read the same papers that they do. It's just not a popular process. And a lot of the pharmaceutical companies issue statements to these people that if they don't have drugs to address the problem, then you're supposed to tell the people that you don't know the cause, because once you tell people you know the cause, then people looking for a solution. So a lot of times they just bold-faced lying based on what the pharmaceutical coaches that come to the hospitals in the daytime tell them what to say and what not to say. You hear me? I can't hear you.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Right. So a lot of this stuff is based on pharmaceutical companies telling folks what to say and what not to say. And if they don't have a way to sell or market a disease, like if it does, they can't monetize it, then, you know, they won't deal with it. Chase. Yeah. Yeah, you and Tony go upstairs and get all your books and stuff, all your notebooks and your books. Take the key to the school. Yeah, we already shut down till next year. I can't hear you again. Where you at?
Yeah, my bad. Trying to multitask over here at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. You talking to somebody else? Okay. You messing me up because I'm looking at you and you talking, but I can't.
Yeah, just, you know, strap. I got the survival show in about an hour, so, you know, I'm gonna go into you know, they got the black prepper community. You see what I'm saying? So they dealing with that. So I'm gonna be dealing with that.
What, the movie?
But nah, the like the just a survivalist type of movie.
Oh, survival.
Yeah.
Survival. No. I thought you was talking about the movie, The Arrivals.
Oh no, that's KT Lane.
Right. Right. But it's getting more popular. So I've noticed that people are trying to jump in that lane, especially like in the comments and stuff like that. So it's only a matter of time before we see somebody jumping out the gate with their own video online trying to redo, you know, their best KT impression. And it's dope. You know what I'm saying? When you can make such an impact that people follow what you're doing. You know, I got a couple children running around out there that don't want to claim their daddy. They be out there doing their best Minister Enqi impression. I be seeing the body language. They be coming with the subject matter like 3 weeks after 4 weeks after we got it going in.
Right.
They get it quick. Boom. They chopping it up. Then, you know, they got their joint on their channel. So it's like, okay, I get it. It's
yeah,
cool.
What I was speaking to earlier about that was y'all are the translators. Y'all was the translators for me anyway, and for people like me, for my master teachers. Y'all was translating what the master teachers was translating. So y'all was the decoders for the master decoders. Y'all became the master decoders of the decoded language for the message to ensure that we got the message. You see what I'm saying? So we could implement.
Well,
you know, so
but see, here's the thing, and this might be where the newer guys are different. We all came up in this thing, you know what I'm saying, as babies. So as babies fascinated with the information, and then growing into teenagers and boys. Like my whole thing started with a love of magic, you know, and then little science experiments grew into chemistry, and then, you know, I always had cousins and uncles coming with the 5% shit, the Nation of Islam shit, the Masonry shit, the Kemetic shit. Like, this is as a boy. Right. So all those things were implanted in my mind, and all those things fascinated me. So as I grew older, I wanted to research and look to find the validation. And then as I became more scientific, I started to challenge some of the things that we would hear from Dr. Yorks and Phil Valentine's and Delbert Blair's. And I don't mean challenge them in the terms of what people, you know, call challenging now, where they're like, oh, well, that's pseudo, and this is and that. No, I'm not talking about
the
that.
great debunkers. The great debunkers.
Not that foolishness. That's foolishness. Because people will say, they will wave off something that they don't understand, instead of putting some time into doing some research, but that costs money. So that's another poverty issue. People not studying. They don't stay in the library. Like Hov said they don't stay in the studio long enough. These $10 scholars don't stay in the library long enough. You know what I'm saying? They researching on Google and that's it. They ain't even buying books.
What you call them?
They like, yo, you buying books? Like, that was $300, man. You could have got the basics of that from Google. I'm like, see, that's the problem. You're satisfied with surface research, and the school I come from, surface research get blown out the water. Like back in the days, you know, it was a much more aggressive approach. I'm gonna just leave it like that because I don't want to say something that might give credence to some of the confusion that we got going on now. But back in the days, it was a serious thing when you presented any information, because there was no internet. It was straight up in front of the circle, in front of the people that you looked up to. You know what I'm saying? So they like, go ahead and mess my thing up if you want. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole nother type of energy. But we grew up under these folks. So when we began to develop our scientific mind, the challenge was not trying to see what we could disprove, but to see how we could scientifically validate some of the things going on. And then when you do that, you see that a lot of the newer things going on came out of the ancient stuff. Like all of this science that people are so enamored with in terms of quantum mechanics and action, spooky action at a distance, and the photoelectric effect and all of those different things. We already had those in ancient time. We just used different vernacular. And when Carl Landsteiner back in, I don't even know what this was, maybe 1895 or 1898, when he first came on deck with black body radiation, and then the black body radiation led to them to look at us in a different light in terms of our relationship to the electromagnetic spectrum. And then they saw how different they were. The next step was really beginning to explore us. And this is where some of the research that became the Holocaust started in North Africa, because the Holocaust started with pure Africans, but it wasn't the Holocaust at that point. What they were doing was doing a lot of biological, what we would call biological warfare on the North Africans, but it was exploratory. No matter how gruesome it was all exploratory. So they came out of that with the blood types, and at the same time, then out, you got Albert Einstein stealing Max Planck stuff, and he was the guy that that's the name is wrong. Max Planck was the guy that did the black body radiation, and then Carl Landsteiner on his heels discovered the blood types, and then Albert Einstein would get the credit for a lot of stuff that he stole from Max Planck, and then create quantum mechanics. The relation of the microcosm to the macrocosm, but that was told in the story of the whole quantum mechanics microcosm macrocosm thing was told in the story of Horus and Set. You know how Set took the eyeball, turned the world upside down. So that's talking about the relationship of the microcosm to the macrocosm. If you understand how the eye sees things upside down, it has to flip them right side up in the brain now. You see, that's Kemetic science deciphered. So all of these different things we had in the ancient an ancient, text, but the language is different. So for us, it was always a matter of finding where the modern day equivalent or the modern day analogs are, and being able to dig into those ancient jewels and then, uncover some things. And then when you do that, you're able to pull out some things that, might not have been on the table for your study in the first place, some things that are hidden, and just go from there. So it's just that we cut from a different cloth. Our research is based on taking what the elders did and venerating them and being able to stand in a modern time with our chest poked out like, yeah, I dare you say something about the old heads. We'll light you up. We'll light you up. I dare you say something about the old heads, because I could take you all the way from from any molecule, however you want to do it. I'll take you all the way down to the elements, to the periodic table, and you go beyond the periodic table. I'll show you how that was built up. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you can do that and play with the information and then take it back to the modern day ancestors, our elders, and then go all the way back into antiquity, it just gives your platform and the foundation you stand on a different level of validity.
Right.
So now we're looking at making sure that we put that gangster, that foot down for safety. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like me and KT, or KT and I, were doing like really, like we got it. But it was just certain key players that I know had a certain love in their heart for Sabi that I had to recruit to get involved with this shit. You know what I'm saying? So Sister Abundance was like, Sabi, what? Salute, I'm in. Brother Polite was like, Sabi, what? Salute, I'm in. So these are people that are like, hold on, just don't worry about it. We in support of what y'all doing, and we're gonna make sure that everybody understand that we gotta keep the OG legacy alive and really go into this mucous membrane fast on January 1st and get everybody on the board. And I think this is going to be, well, our goal is for this to be something that goes all the way across the board, a big act of unification, big act of unification. And it's something that everybody can do in a unified manner, but without being unified to do it. And that's what makes it so powerful, because you don't need to be with everybody or talk to everybody or get consensus from everybody, because the blueprint is such that it's something you can practice alone or just with your family at home. But the fact that we're all practicing together creates a different type of frequency. And I think that's one of the more beautiful, overlooked principles of the Islamic prayer schedule. That's a very powerful thing when you have people all across the globe locked in prayer at one time. The only thing I think is missing from that is the group consciousness, similar to Masonry, where we have some great traditions in there, but the system is now hijacked a little bit, and so some of the secrets and the main purposes of some of the rituals are gone. Similar with Islam, because Islam it's went through a lot of different things, and so the group prayer, though, the scheduled prayers, those things are powerful if you can create one thought amongst the people or one idea amongst the people for them to feed that energy into at those scheduled times and get the prayer done correctly, because it really should be done out in the open, in the sun, so that you can receive that energy. And it should be done on open earth so you can connect with the planet and really send those frequencies out if people understand what prayer is about. So, but there's a lot of powerful stuff that we have in these different dynamics. And, so we looking to really take it to the next level. Like I said, Sister Kafunya, I was up talking to Sister Kafunya, it's probably 3 o'clock in the morning about, just focusing back in, dialing into some of the ancestral power that we have and some of the spirituality we have without getting too crazy and spooky with it. but because it's in our genes, and we need to do that. You know, we look at all of the ancient civilizations that achieved greatness. They didn't achieve greatness without practicing a focused, ritualistic style approach to tapping into the more subtle energies that exist around us that you know, we may have coded or spoke of in terms of religions and ancestral worship and some of the other things that have been misinterpreted modern day without the
right.
science to undergird it.
Right. So the fast starts January 1st through...
The fast starts January 1st, but the preparation time is now. And
right.
the reason why we wanted to give people now to start the prep, because people spending up a whole bunch of money anyway. People buying people a whole bunch of stuff anyway. So why not put the junk aside, man? Put the junk aside. Get you some health products. You understand? Get you some health products from your brothers and get ready. You know, start your workout. Don't just get up and start trying to go balls to the wall crazy with the workout, or like people do. They try to act like they're in shape, and they wait till January 1st and then they start exercising, and then it's not really, you know, it's just more, it's difficult. Whereas right now, what I'm doing, since I've been off on my workout for the last, I don't know, since the summertime, the last week or so, I just start back playing with it. You know what I'm saying? A little light jumping rope, little light push-ups, you know what I'm saying? Hit some curls, some, you know, just some light stuff every day to keep it going, so that when January 1st hits, I'm not completely naked with this thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to get busy and look how it's supposed to look. A lot of people going to be January 1st. Oh my God, I can't do it. Oh my God, I got that ham stuck in my liver from Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool. I dig it. Listen, I can dig it. Like, we got to stop pretending like we so holier than thou that, you know, we've been eating flowers from the top of the mountains from birth type shit, you know? We made transitions. We just made transitions before the rest of everybody else. So now we're in a position to be able to speak to those transitions, speak to the changes that one's going to encounter in those transitions, because that's the biggest issue. When people are trying to transition and turn their life around, diet-wise, exercise-wise, health and beauty-wise, you know, sisters trying to go to natural hair and stuff like that. When they run into the roadblocks, that's what set them back. Right. You know, when sisters trying to go natural and they can't do their hair fast, they don't know enough styles, it's too rough and unmanageable. Rough and unmanageable is like the #1 reason sisters go turn back from natural to something else. Or they'll just say F it, and they'll throw one of them cheap $20 wigs on there and figure that thing out later on. And that creates a new situation, because now them wigs, them cheap wigs, is all synthetic, bogus material. It's gonna block the oxygen, the light, and all that kind of stuff from getting to the scalp. It's gonna stop enzyme activity and all that kind of stuff. And the discomfort is gonna lead them to say, man, you know what? I didn't have these problems before I started trying to get rid of my problems. My problems is actually trying to get rid of potential problems is creating real-time problems. And we want to make these things as easy as possible. And again, that's where the 40-Day Fruit Fast group on Facebook, being something that's free, filled with 9,000-10,000 people that can always support, really, really makes the difference. A lot of people are able to stick with our transitions long term because you have such a free, big support network. You know, we got sisters like Sister Latrice out of Chicago. I mean, Sharita is like a health coach, workout, diet guru maniac. Like, she just, you know, she's a powerhouse when it comes to this thing. That's really where a lot of my strength comes from. Being smart enough You know what I'm saying? Like I be taking pages out of Polite book. I notice with Polite, he'll do a lot of talking to people and they'll pick all the wrong things to listen to. I pick the things that I see that work for him and allow him to catalyze himself into a different position. So one of the things he told me was, Enqi, you know, sisters are special and you need to incorporate them into the things you're doing, listen to them, and have them instruct you sometimes on how things should go and blah, 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 blah. And I watch him. You know what I'm saying? It's sisters that run his whole program. So right. he not just screaming black woman is God. He living that thing. You know what I'm saying? So right. I keep them around me, and those are my advisors. Even my #1 business partner is my 16-year-old Tony. She's been there with me from the beginning, with the herbs, the whole business. With the car accident, she was the one that got hit in the car accident that didn't get too injured. Like her stuff was more mental and emotional, seeing Ari and Amber really take that hit, being there, going through the traumatic experience. That's all she had to deal with. She didn't really have physical scrapes, bruises, and bumps. So when I was formulating the stuff to get the family right, she was right there at my hip. And then as people started to request me to speak to them about how I did it and I would always turn back to her and nobody else to get advice. Like, okay, well, Tone, I don't know. What do you think I should do? Because people are saying like they want me to teach this stuff. Like I don't know. Like I'm just you know who I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing from 158th Street to Broad. Like this wasn't my plan. You know what I'm saying? It just ancestors threw something in my lap and they said, now, you're charged with this thing. You know what I'm saying? Be responsible. Go out there and do it. And people that know me up close and personal, they know that I had, you know, my heart stopped a few years before the accident with my baby. And I think on another level, that was a calling then for me to wake up and start to teach people, because I rehabilitated myself. You know, I really couldn't use, you know, my right arm, my right leg was a little slow afterwards and stuff like that. But I moved to Georgia, start soaking that sun, screwing in, ate raw. When I say I went raw, I'm talking about I was so scared of death that I would not eat food unless that shit looked like a nigga just pulled it out the ground 5 minutes ago. Like I was looking to still see soil and dirt on that shit. Like, no, we ain't even washing it off. I need the dirt too. Put that all on my plate. You understand what I'm saying? But then the poverty, the nigga mentality, you know, it slips back in. And once you regain your health, you lose the fear. And you realize in hindsight, if you're lucky, that a lot of your aggressive discipline wasn't aggressive discipline. You're not disciplined. You're a sucker. That was fear that drove you to practice those things so hard. And you could tell when you slip off your dean, because it wasn't, as soon as I got back healthy, and the neighborhood was like, what's up, Black? You ain't been back in New York in a minute, boy. We ready to go over here and get some of this and some of that, boy, and sip a little of this here, boy. I was like, I'm in. I want everything. You know what I'm saying? And immediately I learned a super lesson. When you heal your body from a traumatic experience, whether it's a serious illness or anything else, you have a proclivity now to go back to that state much higher and faster than anybody else. So you can't mess around. And then I further learned it with, I won't say one of my first, well, she was one of my first, but she was outside the family. My Aunt Bertha was the first person whose cancer I reversed. And I didn't even know that much, but I was on to grapes, resveratrol, and Osiris, and I used that Kemetic blueprint, you know, with the purple grapes, the seeded grapes, the resveratrol, and threw her on a grape fast, and I got her, and she had lymphoma, stage 4, you know what I'm saying, and we reversed that, got that to undetectable levels, and she got another 7-8 years out of her life. You know, it was probably about 3 years before I started creeping back, and her fear subsided, and I started to see Mars bars, Snickers, and Pepsi 6-packs and shit back in the house. And I spoke to her about it, and she said, listen, you know, it's cool if it come back. I'm cool with it. You know, you got me some more years. I got to deal with my babies. You know, I got to raise Donnell and all this kind of stuff. But I just can't live like that. I can't stay on it like that. And at that time, it was a lot more discipline required because I had her straight like raw all the way with it. And now I got so deep with it. Like I could throw behind the back passes and 360 dunks with the thing. So it's a lot more lax, and the diet is a lot more easy for people to be continuous. But one of the first people outside of my family was a sister named Jessica Sepulveda. And she's big in the music business and entertainment stuff. She was like executive producer of Comedy Central at one time and stuff like that. And I went to war and got that cancer out of there with her. But it was like maybe a month before she was back in the club drinking Pinot Grigio and shit. I'm like, what? So I realized through dealing with stuff like that, and at the time, I'm not into the full Minister Enqi swing. I'm just a guy that knows stuff, and the people close to me know I know stuff. So they like, yo, I need you to do this solid for such and such. Or yo, I could do this for you if you do that for me. Like, so it wasn't no widespread thing. I didn't even have products outside of Mama Atomics. You know, I'm running around going toe to toe with cancer with Mama Atomics in my pocket and Osiris in my mind. Like, that's it. We're going to war. I got this Mama Atomics. We're gonna get these grapes and we going in. So but through that process, I realized that you still have a proclivity that if you slip and go back to your old lifestyle, that disease, that illness, them genes, they're gonna turn right back on and produce them situations for you quick. So then I started learning that it's more about not just being able to beat something up real quick. It's about being able to reverse an illness and create a new lifestyle pattern, which allows the person to live comfortably, because it's about living comfortably and enjoying life, but at the same time, never slipping back into that dynamic. So, you know, we've been able to polish it up over the last 10, 12 years. And now we're at a point where, hey, we can do this thing and make it relatively super simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, say we said, mucous membrane, like we got a Dr. Sabi with the mucous membrane. And you know, so we're gonna really go in. We're gonna have a lot of, I know we're gonna have a lot of testimonies come out of this because it's gonna be so big, but I'm looking for the testimonies outside of healing, you know, or traditional healing. I'm looking for people to feel just a renewed sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, an understanding of what unity and unification can do to us. On the first 40-day fruit fast, I noticed that it was an economic thing because we were kind of small at the time. So it was just certain places where we were going heavy at, like in Columbus, like in Philly, and some of these places where we were really heavy at, Chicago. And the communities around these places felt the blow. They felt the blow. Meaning, we got 50, 100, 200 people that's like, look, for the next 40 days, we don't even know Ronald McDonald like that. You know what I'm saying? Because Ronald McDonald's a wild nigga. Let me tell you, I was thinking about Ronald the other day because I posted up a picture on my Instagram, right? And the picture is Ronald McDonald. He leaned over and he talking to this little white girl. He say, let me keep it 100 with you right now. Have you ever seen me eat any of this shit? Right. And I had to think to myself, out of all the commercials we see, I've never seen Ronald eat no McDonald's. Right. So that is a certain dynamic right there. Like sometimes truth sitting right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Only the monsters, weirdos, and mutants with Ronald eats the McDonald's. So now I gotta ask myself, what is happening? Is that what you become after you eat the Happy Meals and shit? You become the purple looking monster and this other guy with the, so, it just ways to look at certain stuff. And then I use my my Enqi vision when I see stuff like that as a tool to be able to talk to the babies 5, 6, and 7 years old and be able to look at commercials and review them in a different way. Like I Hollywood decode commercials and toys for the babies. You know what I'm saying? Like put that KT on it. So we're going heavy, man. We're going heavy, man. And people are really supporting it. People are promoting it. Big up to Raspy. Big up to Martin Luther Died. Big up to Cafunia. Big up to Polite. Big up to Abundance. Big up to Black and Nobel. Big up to Marvo in Chicago. Big up to my man Rob. We got the smoothie bar about to open. Vegan Mafia big in upstate New York. We're going in, man. Big up to my man Big Sean Northside down there in Chicago and Charlotte, excuse me. We got the hair salons popping. Big up to Jimmy in Miami. We got the wig factory with the hair salon down there popping. Matter of fact, I got to post the pics on Instagram because we got some of our wigs are actually going to be featured in the birthday episode coming up for Black Ink. It's going to be crazy. So, we moving, man. We ain't playing with this consciousness, man. We actualizing this thing. We're holding the vision, charging the vision, and letting that thing come into fruition. Fruition. We let that thing come into fruition. You know what I'm saying? Through charge, focus, and unification. And we just showing brotherly love. I think that's one of the most important things that me and KT do. I think our biggest draw is not the information. That's true. It's the fact that, we stand shoulder to shoulder and a lot of, especially in this day and time, and I have that same regard, I think, with Brother Polite, because we don't need to be on the same platform, but if I call his phone, he gonna pick up first dial. You know what I'm saying? If you call my phone, I'm gonna pick up first dial, unless some crazy shit going on, but that's what it got to be. The consciousness got to extend to what happens off the camera, man. Because we may not all agree on everything. You know what I'm saying? I might like kale. You might like spinach. You might like mustard greens. Like, all right, cool. So go out there and teach about kale. I will go over here and teach about. Oh, but if we really about what we say we about community, common unity, then we got to make sure that we, our children know each other's children. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happens when we gone? Right. Your babies need to know my babies. Your babies need to, that's Chase. Yeah. You remember when my dad put your dad on with the radio show and then y'all had the fast going and boop, boop, boop. So, all them things we got to deal with.
Well, so definitely with that, we got the resurgence going back to Black and Nobel, you know what I'm saying? The Philly Apollo, you know what I'm saying? The
place where the stars are born.
The place where the stars are born, man. So I love those two like that platform.
Umar Johnson, listen. Right. Meek Mill, Umar Johnson, Minister Enqi.
Right. So yeah, that's definitely something that's good for the soul. I'm supposed to be in Jersey on Friday if it work out like it's supposed to. If I'm there on Friday, I'm gonna be at the joint on Saturday. Got to. You know what I'm saying? So get the people the information for that. Well, it's that Saturday. We're gonna roll out here. It's Saturday, December 24th. A free event going out there, going down to Philly. Shout out to Philly. Shout out to RBG Friday. Shout out to the Revolutionary Black Panther Party out there, making things happen, being change agents in the community. Feeding the homeless, clothing the homeless. So a lot of initiatives going on. Shout out to What's Up African out there making it happen. There's definitely a lot of things going on out there. Shout out to my brother Judah Priest, man. Check him out. IamJudahPriest.com. We're going to transition out of here and get started here shortly on the Black Survival General Civilization class with the National Minister of Defense of the Black Rider Liberation Party, Minister King Submission Bass, will be on there at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that, I'm gonna say peace and black power. Salute to Minister Enqi. Uh, Salute to the 40-day fruit fast, and salute to wellness, health, brotherly love, prosperity, and abundance. With that, I'm gonna say peace and black power. And check us out on Do Now's Radio, 515-605-9360. Again, 515-605-9360. Press 1 with your questions or your comments. Class going down here in 20 minutes. www.blogtalkradio.com/Do the Knowledge Radio, DOTHAKNOWLEDGERADIO. Black Power.